A recent study by the Maryland Board of Education showed that less than 50% of Maryland's rising kindergartners demonstrate adequate language, literacy, and math readiness skills. And Maryland is not alone.
So when you hear the term kindergarten readiness, what that means is, has that child been prepared for the next step in their educational journey? Kindergarten, are they able to actually go into a kindergarten classroom and sit down and retain the information? Are they able to self-regulate their emotions if they're having a challenge with something? Do they know how to communicate that? Do they know how to ask for supports and things of that nature? So in the early childhood environment, when you hear kindergarten readiness, that is our responsibility to make sure that the children are ready for the next step.
It's important to offer and have quality environments available to all families, not just families who can afford it, but to all families.
In 23 states and the District of Columbia, the cost for center-based care for a 4-year-old exceeds in-state tuition at a public university. Today, the average cost for infant care at a DC child care center exceeds $23,000.
People think that it's very easy for a lower income family to obtain a voucher or assistance from the county or state, but it's not always the case. It's a huge navigational nightmare to be able to apply for some of these programs, and then some people who could navigate the system, just because they make a few dollars over a very low cap on eligibility for salaries, they don't qualify.
Affording quality child care is an everyday problem. Infant child care is one of the most costly types of child care. In some families, it exceeds the cost of rent and mortgages. Recently, there's been some improvements with providing subsidies, state subsidies, to families, but it still isn't enough. And it is the number one reason that parents can't find childcare and choose sometimes childcare that's not good quality.
So, for low-income families, whether they receive a voucher for childcare or not, there is clearly a gap. And Child Care Counts seeks to bridge that gap.
Well, I saw a huge need, especially in the DC and surrounding county area, which is where I live, but as I dug into it a little more, I realized it was really a nationwide crisis for especially low-income families to be able to afford a quality child care provider. Single parents, it was almost impossible. I feel like it's very important the way we work. We try to stay within the recommendations of the Department of Health and Human Services. They recommend that for child care to be affordable, that it's no more than 7% of the family's total income. So generally, we probably charge the family between 7 and 10%, which is still pretty much within that range. And then we subsidize the rest. So we figure out what 7 to 10% looks like for them. We say, this is your portion, here's what you're paying. We're going to pay the rest, unless they have a voucher. Then the voucher pays some, the family pays some, and we pay the difference. We get referrals through government agencies, usually county agencies, and also from other nonprofits who work with these families. They know them very well.
For 20 years, I was the program manager for the Howard County Child Care Resource Center. It was part of the Maryland Child Care Resource Network. I became associated with Child Care Counts through a conversation with Debbie Brown years ago. She called me in my office and she said, I would like to help parents pay for childcare. And I thought it was a crank call. It seemed too good to be true. When families are working with government agencies such as child care subsidies, state child care subsidies, there's a lot of hoops that they need to jump through. There's a lot of bureaucracy. They need to have certain paperwork sent in a certain format at a certain time, and that causes a lot of roadblocks for the families. The beauty of Child Care Counts is their flexibility and their lack of bureaucracy and willingness to meet them where they are.
Generation Hope is a nonprofit organization that helps teen parents become college graduates while at the same time helping their children prepare for kindergarten readiness. We provide direct services to over 120 teen parents in the Washington, D.C. metro area, helping them not only get to the graduation stage, but also ensuring that their children are ready to thrive in kindergarten and beyond. And of course, as part of that, childcare is an enormous need. It's one of the biggest challenges that our scholars face, is making sure that when they're in class, when they are working, that there is a safe, enriching place for their children to go. And so Childcare Counts steps in and fills the gap in a way that is incredibly flexible and helpful and respectful of our students and what they're trying to accomplish.
Most of our families only earn about $45,000 a year, and so you can imagine how difficult it must be in our area to live on that. Sheila was our very first program family, and she's very typical of families that we work with. She's a single mom. She's working hard, she's gainfully employed and trying to get to a better place financially.
So when I was pregnant with my son, I was very stressed because I didn't know how I was going to be able to pay for daycare. I had no idea. I don't have much support. So with Childcare Count, when Debbie created that program, for people like me where you don't qualify for government assistance because you're considered making a good income, which really is not a good income, it's supplement. So it helps you pay for the daycare. So it could be anywhere between a percentage of what a daycare costs, depending on your income, or the full amount. And for someone like me, that helped tremendously. So I'm very grateful.
She had no options when her son was born, and so he was an infant when he started in our program, and he continued all the way through. So he benefited from 4 years of support and quality care.
So Gabe, initially when he started, he did require some supports. As he continued through our program, he has definitely blossomed, and we will feel comfortable in saying that he is definitely ready for the next step in his educational journey.
So some people think that we're just giving money to people. Well, first of all, we don't give money directly to an individual. It goes to the child care providers. But it really isn't a giveaway. It is not a handout. We like to say it's a hand up because it helps propel families into a better situation in the short term and in the long term. So it really is a hand up, not a handout. One of the aspects of our program that I really like is our requirement that every family sit with a certified financial planner once a year. It's not a class, a group class. It's a one-on-one experience where their individual financial situation is reviewed by the advisor.
So for the past few years,
First thing we do is we try to see where we can save money in their expenses. So we look at things like groceries. Where can you find groceries that you can get a discount? For example, Catholic Charities has a program where you can buy groceries for 50% discount. So that'll be a big difference for them. And how do you save money with your cell phone plan? Because you can switch to maybe a third-party carrier and maybe pay half the cost while getting the same type of coverage. So saving money is probably where we start. The next step is, how do we make smarter decisions in your financial life? For example, if their employer is giving them access to a 401k and they're giving them a match, so that's free money. If you put in $100, they get $100.
I learned budgeting. I didn't know how to budget before. I didn't. Money came in, money went out. And I didn't know how to save because it's like, you don't have enough coming in to pay your bills. So how are you supposed to save when you don't have enough coming in bills? Or at least that's what you think in your mind. So working with Alvin, he kind of just broke everything down. And he helped me find ways to save.
So I used to work for a nonprofit for 10 years before I became a financial planner. So social justice issues actually really resonate with me. And before becoming a financial planner, I was already aware that there's an income gap in this country, and there's also a wealth gap, and middle-class families are struggling. This is how I can contribute, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing. And I think it's a great opportunity for me to serve as a financial planner, especially with the clients of childcare accounts.
I see families who appreciate what we do so much. They tell us that they couldn't exist without this childcare, and it has made a fundamental difference in their lives, that they can rest secure, they can go to school, they can go to work, and know that their children are taken care of. And it's so gratifying to hear that from families.
Everyone deserves to have access to good childcare. My wife and I just welcomed our first child to the family back in January. So we've been able to see firsthand the tough choices that these families have to make in choosing someone who's going to be caring for their child. It's just terrible to think that there could be families that are in a situation where they aren't able to choose childcare that they feel is safe and reliable and convenient because of financial reasons. So just being able to make any sort of contribution to help sort of make that choice a little bit easier for a family, I felt it was a really worthy cause. I think one big difference between childcare accounts and some others is that we can see an immediate impact, and that the contributions that we're making, we know that is going directly to helping to take care of these financial obligations for these families, and we know that the more money that we can get to child care accounts on a monthly basis, the more families that they'll be able to help and the bigger impact that they'll have.
Knowing that my son is in quality care, it just gives you this peace of mind where you're able to focus on work, and knowing that your son has been taken care of, having the best quality. And when you get home from work and you pick up your son and they're happy and excited, that makes you feel good. I feel comfortable now that I'm able to work, get a paycheck, save a portion, pay my bills, and plan for the future.
That's why I started Child Care Counts, because I wanted to remove barriers that prevent families, parents and children, from achieving their full potential. When a family can achieve its full potential, it benefits all of us. The need is really great. We're helping a small number, but we would love to help more. We just need more money to scale up. It's very easy for us to scale up. I feel like what we do at Child Care Counts builds on something that lasts a lifetime.
Might the goals of Child Care Counts complement your charitable giving priorities? If so, we urge you to visit our website to learn more. Help us make a difference for the future, one family at a time.